We headed out to the peninsula in Hendersonville, Tennessee to catch the Highland Games. Hey folks, welcome to the Down the Road Travel Channel. My name is Will Van Winkle. Recently, we headed out to Sandersville Park in Hendersonville, Tennessee to catch the Middle Tennessee Highland Games. Now, this is celebrating Scottish heritage with traditional games, whiskey tastings, allowing people to get to know a little bit more about the clans that they may be a part of, related to. Each tent there represented a different clan from a different part of Scotland. I was surprised to see my mother's maiden name as a clan, having thought it an Irish name. Now, I need to look back at my own genealogy to see if I have Scottish ancestry as well. There is a chance for amateur athletes to participate in traditional heavy Highland Games, heavy Scottish events rather. Now, this includes the hammer throw, which is a 22-pound hammer for men and 16 for women. It's basically a metal ball attached to a wooden handle. Is thrown by spinning the hammer around the athlete's head and throwing it as far as possible during the Scottish event. The athlete throws the hammer basically behind them as they're not permitted to spin. In fact, some areas, their feet are fixed to the ground with long blades attached to their shoes to anchor them. Tossing a hammer over a bar, again, it's another heavy event. The competitors were tossing basically that same hammer over a bar that got raised with every round, and I think there were probably about 3 or 4 rounds. They also had a similar event where they took a pitchfork and they were tossing a bale of hay, and this again over the bar, and the bar was raised after every competitor had competed that round. Then there is the caber toss. Now, this event is almost synonymous with the Highland Games. Competitors compete by lifting and throwing a large wooden pole so that it flips end over end, eventually landing, pointing directly away from the thrower. That's when you have a good one. That's I think they call it a 12 o'clock, and it's straight away from you. Now, it took 3 teams to carry these poles around the field for the athletes. Usually the caber is around 17 feet high, about 90 pounds. But when you're holding it straight up and trying to get a few running steps in to throw it, it doesn't look like a very comfortable event. And I wouldn't want to be directly behind the athlete. But spectators were really into this and really intent on watching the athletes throw. And they were sitting right behind them. They weren't worried that they were wobbling. Looked like sometimes the pole might fall backwards. They were just having a great time, and they were enjoying watching the feat of Scottish strength. We know very little, or we knew very little about the Highland Games before going, so opted to eat prior to attending, being afraid that the only thing we would find was haggis and meat pies, which were represented there, along with traditional Scottish shortbreads and some type of Scottish fudge-like candy called tablet. In my opinion, this was way too sweet. Maybe I'm not Scottish. But aside from the traditional foods, food trucks were selling donuts and coffee, Kona ice cream, hot dogs, and more could be found if you planned on attending the event in 2025 or any event in the future. Have no fear, you won't need to eat before, and you will not starve while there, and you don't have to worry about eating something in the intestines and stomach lining of a sheep. That's haggis. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it does not sound appealing to me. If you're in the mood for some shopping, many tents were around selling fabric to make kilts. Leather goods could be found, toys, tapestries, coats of arms, woodwork items, Irish goods. After all, the Irish and Scots history did get muddled together at various points in time, which may explain why I saw what I thought was an Irish name in a Scottish clan tent. Aside from the games, food, and wares, there was, of course, live music, both Scottish and Irish.
Listen, no, may never, no more, not play the world, no, never, no more. Well, I've been a well over 4 million a year, and I spent all my money on whiskey and beer.
So on multiple stages throughout Sanders Ferry Park, bagpipers made their way around the grounds with drummers in tow to complete the experience. Tickets for the 2024 Highland Games were $35 for the weekend, $25 for a single day pass for adults, and could be purchased in advance or at the gate. Everyone there seemed to be in great spirits, great mood, aside from some minor smack talking and ribbing from the athletes. I saw no problems. Now, maybe that was because they were there celebrating a shared heritage. Maybe it was because the Hendersonville Police Department had a very, very big showing at the event. There were golf carts, there were several police cars, there were people walking on feet. The police were out. So maybe in the past they had had problems and they wanted to make sure they didn't have problems. Maybe they were just there to enjoy the festival themselves. Who knows? Now, we did leave a few minutes early. And this was to avoid any traffic issues, as there's only a narrow 2-lane road circling the peninsula where the park is located. So we did miss the Bonniest Knees contest, which I think I could have won. But alas, I had no kilt to show off these sexy beasts here. Check this out. Look at that. Oh, yeah, I could have won that. But I didn't enter, and I had no kilt. So again, we left early to avoid those traffic. We didn't really run into any traffic issues, even though there's only a 2-lane street. There's not a lot of infrastructure. There's a lot of housing, some apartment complex and some restaurants on the peninsula. It was pretty well maintained. I don't think it was super crowded. So you could get up close and watch the events. You could get up close and watch the music. And it was spread out enough to where you didn't have to worry about bumping into the person next to you. There wasn't much seating. A lot of people brought lawn chairs in. Most people were just sitting on the grass. If you would like to participate in the games in any capacity, you can visit www.midtenngames.com. That's on the screen here below me, where you can find the appropriate application. All in all, it was a fun event. Maybe the price for what was there was a bit steep, but not too bad. And the Middle Tennessee Highland Games is a 501(c)(3), which is a nonprofit organization serving to celebrate and preserve Celtic and Scottish heritage in Tennessee, with proceeds going to support those annual games. So the cost is going to something good, and it's technically a tax write-off if you would like to try that. $25 isn't enough for me to do the extra paperwork next tax season, so I did not get a receipt. The event was well organized, not too crowded, as I said, provided enough entertainment to justify attending at least once in your life. If you happen to be close by, and or if you have a Highland Games event near you, I'd recommend that as well. If you've been competed or feel I've missed an important bit of information, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you down the road.
Let's hit the road.